Hi, my name is Jackson Faring. I will be discussing the issue of instability in Congo. Instability in Congo has been a major problem not only for Congo, but for the rest of Africa as well. So, how and when did Congo plummet into all-out instability with the war on conflict minerals? The answer can be traced back to 200 years ago when King Leopold of Belgium reigned over the Congo. He enslaved the people for the production of rubber and ivory, which came at high prices. Under his reign, there were 2 to 15 million deaths. His ravenous attitude towards minerals has led on to this day, as many armed groups are terrorizing and killing many people for conflict minerals. The war on conflict minerals in the Congo started in the early 90s and still continues to flourish today. In 1996, Rwanda and Uganda invaded Congo for their rich inhabitants of minerals. Along with them, 7 other African countries, Libya, Chad, Sudan, Angola, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and South Sudan invaded Congo and was involved in the process of stealing minerals. The invasion ended, but ever since, rebel forces have fought violently over political power and minerals. Since the Congo Wars from 1996 to 2003, there have been more than 40 different rebel groups in search of conflict minerals. Due to the significant amount of deaths that the government can't get a hold of, it has led to major downfall in Congo's stability. Now, how has the war on conflict minerals changed over the past 5 years? The war on conflict minerals is getting better, but it is moving at a very slow pace. Armed groups and their backers gained a lot of wealth from minerals in Congo. Now that the Dodd-Frank Act is being put in place, it is starting to change a lot of that. Today, major armed groups are significantly weaker than they have been in the past. This is because of military operations and economic shifts that have resulted from the Dodd-Frank Act. Nearly 74% of miners in East Congo are no longer under armed groups' control. Willakale, one of Congo's most mineral-rich areas, is now no longer under armed groups' control and is conflict-free for the most part. However, one of the big problems for Congo not being completely conflict-free is because the Congolese government has failed to completely disarm armed groups and to shut off the shipment of weapons. This has resulted in some ex-military men wanting to rejoin with former armed groups. Because of this, Ugandan ADF military men teamed up with Congolese armed groups and killed over 300 people in 2014 to claim their stand in Congo and to show that they were still superior over the Dodd-Frank Act. Furthermore, Congolese armed groups are still continuing to smuggle gold and other minerals, and while the prices of minerals are 30% higher, it is a gateway for armed groups to make more money. The Congo is working to target the remaining armed groups for peace-building efforts. While the Dodd-Frank Act is leading to increased security for mining areas across Congo by shrinking the market for conflict minerals, it is not succeeding in accompanying mineral tagging reforms and the investment of livelihood programs. Now, many tech companies, including Apple, Intel, and other companies, are no longer buying from conflict minerals in Congo. Because of the vast majority of mines being shut down, miners have found themselves out of work and have no other way to survive. Congolese miners said the following about the Dodd-Frank Act, that it has completely destroyed everything. Even though working conditions were harsh and they were getting paid a little less than $1 a day, completely shutting them off from a way to make money has led them to find new ways to survive, whether it be good or bad. Due to many miners being out of work, it has led to downfall in Congo's stability. Many of the ex-miners are now going to join with armed groups as a way to survive. While the Dodd-Frank Act has implemented many good things, shutting them off as a way to make money has led miners to join armed groups as a way to survive. The Congo has fought major wars and has had great turmoil with neighboring Rwanda over the years. In 1994, Rwanda exploded with genocide with conflict against the Hutus and the Tutsi. The genocide was, well, the Hutus, who ruled Rwanda by 84%, blamed the Tutsi for social, economic, and political pressures. They were also blamed for supporting Rwanda rebel groups who were against the Hutus and disrupted the peace in Rwanda. While a plane carrying the president of Rwanda was shot down, all chaos broke out against the Tutsi, since he was in fact Hutu. Hutu extremists decided to make a plan to completely wipe out the entire population of Tutsi. In 1994, over 800,000 people were killed within 100 days. Even though the Hutus wiped out 3/4 of the Tutsi population, the Tutsi rebel group wiped out the Hutus' political source of power as they started to take control of Rwanda. At this time, many of the Hutus fled to Congo, almost all of them being men who were responsible for the genocide. Many of the Hutus teamed up with Mobutu's government and tried wiping out a vast majority of the Tutsi population in Congo. It didn't last long, however, as the Rwandan and Ugandan armies invaded Congo and conquered East Congo in 1997. In September of 1997, they overthrew Mobutu, the leader of Congo, and his government. The Rwandan genocide that spilled in Congo has taken many lives, and it is not until now that reforms are being made. The Security Council determined that the FDLR has not only failed to demobilize, but in fact is still in the process of recruiting new fighters, urging a joint FARDC-MONUSCO military operation to advance immediately. While the ICGLR-SADC summit was scheduled to plow the way forward, Angola, who was to host the meeting, decided to cancel it, instead pushed to realize that the threat of military consequences. On January 29, 2015, the Army of the Democratic Republic of Congo initialized the start of operations and launched a military campaign against the FDLR. Early challenges have already been brought up as the UN threatened to pull their support if Congolese government refused to replace 2 military commanders accused of human rights violations. The government still has not given an answer as to whether or not they will replace those 2 commanders. However, recent tension was fused over alleged attempts by the current government to postpone the 2016 national elections, in which the president of Congo, Joseph Kabila, would be unable to participate due to his 2-term limit. The simple fact that the Congo has utterly failed at being a successful government has been a huge problem for their stability. They are late to make decisions, which cost them a lot in the long run and hurts their political standpoint. They cannot take control of their country, which leads to incredible downfall.